Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about the comic book industry. And if there ever was any doubt, if there ever was any shred of doubt that websites and social media platforms and people just kind of in and around the comic book industry are actively blacklisting certain creators based on political leanings and affiliations, this is a great case for it. Because this is absolutely mind-blowing. Reddit has banned a comic book Indiegogo by Mike Baron. Mike Baron, who is a veteran comic book creator, worked on the EISNER-winning, multiple EISNER-winning Nexus and Badger for many, many years. He's got a project out on Indiegogo called Florida Man, which actually looks pretty damn funny. We go to Florida quite often, given that we cover theme parks. We're down there all the time. And we just did a Florida Man episode a couple weeks ago with the kids about Florida headlines. I think it looks like a lot of fun. And Mike Baron is a respected creator, but his sin was that the editor is a known Comicsgate sympathizer. Yes, that's right. His editor is a known or alleged Comicsgate sympathizer. So multiple Eisner Award-winning Mike Baron is not getting any support from the comic book subreddit, which has over a million comic book fans subscribed to it. He's effectively been blacklisted, guilt by association. And we're going to talk about this and talk about just how insane the comic book industry has become. The mainstream comic book industry completely grasping at straws at this point. They've already lost. A lot of people have walked away from mainstream comics. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of them identify as Comicsgate, some of them do not. But they've walked away from the mainstream industry because it's become a very toxic, shrinking, jealous, bitter, nasty place to work. And anybody who has a lick of common sense, get the hell out if you can. That's my opinion. So this is coming from Bounding Into Comics. First, let me show you their Indiegogo. I'm going to put a link to this in the description if you want to back Chris Braley and Mike Baron's campaign. It's got some nice art. Looks pretty good. Go ahead and do that. So this is coming from Bounding Into Comics. Comic book subreddit bans Mike Baron's Florida Man Indiegogo. The comic book subreddit that has over 1.2 million subscribers banned the promotion of Mike Baron and Todd Mulrooney's Florida Man Indiegogo. The reason is because Florida Man and editor-in-chief of Bleeding Fool, Chris Braley, posted a link to the Indiegogo in the comic book subreddit and subsequently received an indication that the post had been removed by moderators. So we're going to talk about this because this is happening quite often in the comics media and in the communities. I think we have a very small group of people that absolutely have a physical blacklist of creators and personalities that are not allowed anywhere near their comic book industry. And that's very dangerous. It's very dangerous because comics is already shrinking. And at this point, you're alienating, certain creators, you're alienating their audiences, you're telling readers even you don't want them reading your books. Literally, some of these people are going out to Twitter and saying, I don't want you buying my books, which hurts the company, which means everybody loses their job. I mean, this is just this vicious cycle of kind of bullshit clubhouse, childish mentality that the comic book industry has and has had for a number of years that has led to its rapid decline. The reason for the removal read, moderators remove posts from feeds for a variety of reasons, including keeping communities safe, civil, and true to their purpose. So this is the link posted by the Bleeding Fool. Braley would also receive a personal ban for daring to even post the Florida Man comic book Indiegogo in the comic book subreddit. They cited his reason for being banned as Comicsgate support. When asked why he was banned, a moderator responded, writing, "Comicsgate support is not tolerated on this subreddit, such a pro-Comicsgate website like Bleeding Fool and Comicsgate-led crowdfunding campaigns like those from Chris Braley." I don't think they are actually promoting Florida Man as a Comicsgate project. You've been permanently banned. You've been permanently banned from participating in r/comic books.
That's because I like to keep their echo chamber.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have dissenting opinions. You can still view and subscribe
Tolerance.
Yeah, there's some tolerance. That's keeping it safe. You can still view and subscribe to comic books, but you won't be able to post or comment. Note from the moderators: your sin was Comicsgate support. If you have a question regarding your ban, you can contact the moderator. A reminder from the Reddit staff: if you use another account to circumvent this subreddit ban, that will be considered a violation of the content policy and can result in your account being suspended from the entire site.
If you have a question about our discrimination, you can write us, but we'll do nothing about it.
They're not going to do anything about it.
No, because I love it. We're all forced to support, and we have to raise comics up, but only the ones we like.
Why
are we failing?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that.
I'll go back to my show.
That's okay. So Bleeding Fool writes, "I'm not sure how this works. What did I do to get banned? I thought it was cool. Comicsgate support is not tolerated. Your website is pro Comicsgate. The comic book subreddit rule number 1, be civil. Ban support for Comicsgate. It reads, racial, sexual, homophobic, or cultural slurs will result in a permanent ban. Do not disparage the differently abled or threaten or incite harm against users, creators, or industry professionals." It then specifically mentions Comicsgate, describing the popular movement as a hate group. Any form of bigotry or support of hate groups such as Comicsgate is not permitted. While debate and differing views are encouraged, please keep all discussion on topic and do not resort to personal attacks. As a general rule, don't be a jerk.
But they're being jerks, and they personally attack people all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just listening to it, and I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, sorry.
So here's what really, gets. I mean, this is a pattern. This isn't just the comic books subreddit. Okay, this happened on Comic Book Resources too. A couple of years ago, they said that anyone who would discuss Comicsgate, Jawbreakers, or Wade versus Meyer, or any of that, you would be, the thread would be deleted, and you might actually get banned. Over the past couple of days, this is coming from Matt. Matt is offline. He was the admin. Over the past couple days, we've had some folks try to start discussions relating to the Antarctic Press / Jawbreakers story. As moderator, we have decided that we do not wish it discussed and deleted the threads. Why? Pretty obvious and fair question. The answer is simple. We, again, as a moderator team, do not wish to give diversity in comics and the followers thereof any sort of platform to advertise their particular brand of nonsense. We have looked at all the information available and concluded that the viewpoints involved are abhorrent, the behavior is sickening, and the general attitude a detriment to civil discourse. This is coming from Comic Book Resources, which used to be a legit comic book news site, and now it's a fucking joke.
Civil discourse. That makes me laugh so hard. Do they actually know what that means?
No. In short, they give comic book fandom a bad name. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and guess what? More pros are coming over all the time. This is an issue that is not open for debate or discussion. Thank you for your consideration and understanding. This message is on behalf of the CBR Forums moderator team and does not necessarily reflect the opinions or of individuals or CBR as a whole. And so the forums are not what they used to be. Comic Book Resources forums used to be pretty active, and I think when you're telling people what they can and can't talk about. Now, here's the thing. The only way that the / comic books subreddit would know that Chris Braley was, for Bleeding Fool is if they have a list of people that are problematic, a list of websites that are problematic. In fact, there are people out on Twitter that are trying to get even Bounding in the Comics taken down, even though Bounding in the Comics predates everything going on with Comicsgate. But this is interesting. The comic book subreddit appears to have an approved source of websites for comic book news. So AIPT, I didn't even know that was still a thing. Bleeding Cool, not Bleeding Fool. Bleeding Cool, Rich Johnston. Comic Book Resources, of course. The Beat, which is tanking in views right now. Their traffic is down significantly from where it used to be just a couple of years ago. IGN Comics, of course. Newsarama has failed so badly that it is just a tab on a gaming website at this point. It's not even its own website because the traffic wasn't there to justify its existence. And the Comics Journal, which is interesting because that's Gary Groth, that's Fantagraphics, and I think Gary Groth made the naughty list, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, they're shill websites. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 websites are trustworthy.
Shills. Excuse me.
So Chris Braley issued a statement to Bounding in the Comics in response to the comic book subreddit ban and the promotion of Florida Man. It begins, I think the most annoying part is that the creators like Mike Barron and Todd Maroney just want to create comics and get them out there. It's a shame that an anonymous moderator with an ideological axe to grind can deplatform a user just because they disagree with something that was written somewhere else online. The statement continues, the trend of deplatforming is only one component of a broader crisis of free speech happening online throughout America. I absolutely agree, because what's going on, especially in comics, because it's small and everybody knows everybody, is that you can make the list very, very easily. And all these websites are in kind of collusion with each other. A lot of the social media managers cross over from one company to another company. You've got creators that jump from company to company. There are absolutely backroom chats talking about problematic personalities that need to be banned. So Mike Barron, again, multi-Eisner-winning creator, is banned because they don't like Bleeding Fool. I mean, what kind of horseshit is that? Steve Rude worked on Nexus, for God's sake.
Take their power away. Support the competition.
That is 100% what needs to happen. This is what this is about. It's about the fact that YouTubers and alternative websites like Bounding in the Comics and Bleeding Fool have popped up in the last couple of years to sort of be a counterpoint to sites like Bleeding Fool and Comics Beat and Comic Book Resources and the basically defunct Newsarama, out of necessity, because pop culture has become such a ridiculous battleground in the last 3 or 4 years that there are no dissenting opinions allowed. You're not allowed to just have a difference of opinion, political opinion. I mean, we don't even lean right, and we've already been called alt-right Nazis. We've been told that we were, horrible people right out of the gate. And it wasn't because they actually believe that, because anybody that actually knows us probably has a pretty good idea of where our politics are. But one, it never used to matter until current year, until last like 3 or 4 years. It never really mattered where somebody was politically, as long as they weren't batshit crazy. And two, it's very easy to dismiss people if you can dehumanize them and just be like, you're part of some hate group. And the thing is we don't even consider ourselves Comicsgate. We watch, the situation going on. We are absolutely kind of anti-media at this point, because we've seen how corrupt the mainstream media has become, especially with pop culture. Because a lot of people who had political agendas kind of worm their way into pop culture on various levels, whether it's actually working for the company directly or working as like social media managers or working in the media, the support media. It's the same people who are tend to be activists first. And
that's where the batshit crazy went.
That's where all the batshit crazy went. And I have no problem with someone who feels passionate about social issues or whatever, but it should not be their job to use their platform, a platform that was likely built by someone else, to use that platform to run down and denigrate other fans. Fandom used to be escapism, and it no longer is, but now it's actually hitting people in the wallet. Kickstarter took a massive hit because they wanted to gatekeep which comic book projects they would allow on the platform based on the people actually working on the comics. It had nothing to do with the content of the comic, because they didn't like Richard Meyer, okay, they would not allow jawbreakers on their platform because again, you've got all these people talking to each other back channel. And because of that, Kickstarter took like a 40% hit to their bottom line because people weren't using the platform anymore. And a lot of the big action, the big six-figure crowdfunders, most of them are on Indiegogo now because people took their ball and they went somewhere else. They're like, we don't need freaking politics getting in the way of making money on comics. So as the rest of the comic book industry is kind of scrambling to make chump change, you've got people over on Indiegogo, some of them identify as Comicsgate, some of them do not, making six figures. You know, and they're not using Kickstarter because Kickstarter shot itself in the foot when they decided they were going to gatekeep, just like Reddit. So Chris Braley continued, furthermore, it seems incredibly toxic that a moderator can ban another user for personal reasons, not because the user broke any rules. Nothing about Comicsgate was posted on Reddit nor in the campaign. That's right. I don't think Florida Man is even a Comicsgate campaign. It's guilt by association because Chris Braley is working on it. Braley continued, at Bleeding Fool, our comment sections are open. We don't ban people unless they're being repeatedly abusive. We have dozens of contributors who post their own opinions, some of them contrary to one another. It's a pity a site like Reddit isn't more inclusive of all perspectives so that dialogue and reason could prevail. That's the problem. We can't allow people to have sane, different opinions on the website because you lose control. You lose control at that point. Because then, God, people are going to get funny ideas about individuality and free speech, and we can't have that. Even though the comic book industry used to thrive on free speech and different ideas and individuality, the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund was set up to protect free speech, and now it's just another chess piece that these publishers use. It's such bullshit. So, yeah, you know, I would like to say I'm surprised. I'm not, but the fact that Reddit is banning somebody in the caliber of Mike Barron because they don't like the editor on the book is just a colossal pile of flaming hot bullshit.
Douchebag.
Yeah, and whoever it is a douchebag. But this shows, I mean, prime example of just how infected and sick and demented the mainstream comic book industry is, and why there need to be more alternative voices. Because you get these douchebags, like Geeky said, on a power trip, and they want to start banning people for no good reason. So
they're scared they're going to lose their power.
They
already are losing their power, so they're trying to cling on to it as much as they can.
Well, Newsarama is already just a tab on a gaming site.
They pretend like they have balls.
Comic book resources, they've had a massive pay cut. I've noticed that they've had to try to be a little more even keel because they've let these activists come in for years and basically run a once well-regarded website into the ground. And you know, you better believe there absolutely are physical blacklists out there with names of people that are problematic that will not get hired by the mainstream comic book industry. I'm 95% sure we are on that list. Geeky said that somebody offered her a copy of that list.
Block list on Twitter. They said, "Oh, I'm so glad there's a list of who we should block," and I was like, she thought I was on their side.
Yeah.
And then she found out real quick I wasn't. But she was going to offer me talking about the block list and say about, you know, did I have it? Because it will tell me who to block.
Yeah, so there actually is a list out there, and you better believe these journalists and these D-level creators and these moderators on these forums, they are absolutely talking to each other back channel about people who should be banned. And you know what? They already lost. They've already lost their power. People are doing an end run around these websites. The traffic on these websites are caving because people are tired of the bullshit. Now, you know, one of the biggest subreddits out there for comics is actively banning well-regarded Eisner-winning comic book creators because they're guilty by association. It's colossal bullshit. It needs to be called out more often.
The Emperor's not wearing clothes.
And it needs to end. This needs to end, and it's going to end one way or another. What's going to happen is all these hole-in-the-wall publishers and these websites and these social media managers, they're going to lose their jobs. The websites are going to collapse. Newsarama is already toast. You know, I expect a few more to fall before the end of the year because the ad revenue is down too. And the people who just want to make comic books and connect with their readers are still going to be able to do that. you know, and they'll just step over you. They will step over you. And this needs to continue. We have to basically get these douchebags out of our hobbies, out of our industry. It used to be a welcoming place for everyone, and now they've got the keys to the clubhouse, they think, but we're actually building a bigger clubhouse right next door. So, and we've got Wi-Fi over there, and a pool.
And cookies.
And cookies. So I'm gonna wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.